Wait, my voice can go over the internet?
Now loading Bro-Op Radio.
Alright, welcome everybody to the Bro-Op Radio podcast. The podcast has taken some period of time after E3 2017.
Yeah, like, isn't it like...
Was that like the legit opening?
like, December? No, I don't know.
This is our first podcast since, well...
It's been 2
January.
months. It's been
2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been also been 2 months.
Oh, I thought the last one we did was like in January.
Nah.
Cool.
No,
What was the last one about?
The last one
Last one we did was the Breath of Wild one, where me and you talked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right, nice.
Do you
Good
want
to be back.
Do you want to do a new intro, or is that it?
I mean, we can roll with that if you want to.
Fucking put that out. Fucking take it to editing.
This is the real us. We give our fans the real us. Authentication experience.
Oh, all right. Well, we're glad to have you. We're glad that any of you that are watching live are watching. We're glad that any of you are watching on YouTube or listening. We're glad that any of you that are following along on your auto braille machines are just feeling us. We feel you too. We're going to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about what we've been up to. And we're going to follow that up with some YouTube comments. And then what we're mainly going to do today is we're going to go through E3 2017. It was a little bit ago, but we're finally getting ready to talk about it. We want to talk about things we liked, things we disliked, and just overall impressions. Okay. So first and foremost, how's everybody been doing? Anybody been doing absolutely shitty?
Just the worst.
Okay. Anybody
I've
been
doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Mhm.
What, anything new and exciting in your life? Did you ever
Me?
wind up doing the thing you were going to do?
That thing
You know
I'm
the thing.
going to need a little bit more specification.
with the people.
The
You
thing with the
remember
people?
The thing with the stuff?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Aw, damn it.
I don't think I've done a thing. What thing are you talking about?
You were going to go skydiving.
Oh, no. Okay, so what happened was, I was supposed to go skydiving on Father's Day because that was my wife's Father's Day gift to me, so that's cool. But the weather didn't play nice, so we had to reschedule it till tomorrow. Which now it's looking like the weather's not going to be good tomorrow either. So it's looking like I'm going to have to reschedule again. But no, eventually I'm going to jump out of a plane.
Okay. Well, you know,
Hopefully with a parachute.
it's everybody's dream.
Maybe with a parachute.
You know, depending on how many times I have to reschedule this motherfucker. Cool. All right. Ian, how about yourself? You doing good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think about my own mortality a lot, but
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something that might help you out is jumping out of an airplane.
you're right.
Or DDP yoga.
DDP yoga.
Just jump out of an airplane with DDP.
I actually
Yo, what up, Diamond Dallas? You want to go jump out of a plane?
I actually have been doing some DDP yoga.
Okay.
Have you really?
No.
Oh, okay. That's. Can we go to somebody who's not going to lie straight to the microphone?
Chase, tell us about your life.
Oh, that's not much better.
I've been good, man. In
Wow.
like the last 4 months, I've beat every Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get
I
caught
actually
up.
believe you. Are you being serious?
Yes, I've beat them all.
Oh, okay. I saw you update your Facebook cover photo to Kingdom Hearts. So I'm like, oh, he must be jumping back into this franchise or phenomenon. But I guess you've been doing that already.
was a pretty good
Yeah.
word to have used. I don't know why you swapped
Well,
franchise
I
to
was-
phenomenon.
I was trying to talk more. I was trying to come up with a word that meant
That just
like the overall
gave the
feeling of
audience
it rather
more.
than
It gave the
just
audience more
serious.
just pizzazz. Phenomenon.
yes, man. Just fucking Jesse, man. What's you been up to, bud?
Well, you know, I've been researching various phenomenon.
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah.
Go ahead and fill us in on some of that.
No, but for real, I've been trying to balance a bunch of different things, but right now I'm trying to balance being a little bit behind on Bro-Op and on editing and things like that, and also trying to make time to start writing again. So I'm 3 chapters into the novel that I've been wanting to write for a long time, and that's exciting.
Hey, on that note,
Yeah.
I haven't read any of it, but
I thought that's where that was going to stop.
no. But my significant other has, and I have heard very good things.
Well, I'm happy about that. You know, I gotta.
We can talk more about that like off camera, but
Yeah.
I was just, since you're speaking about it, I was just going to tell you that so far you're getting a thumbs up.
Oh, thanks. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it more off camera.
Yeah.
We'll get that thumb up there too. I have also been taking a look at Steam sale games because the Steam summer sale's going on right now, and I'm hoping to go ahead and snag a couple things. I played Super Hot to completion, which was an interesting game that seems to think more of itself than it is. Yeah, I mean, for real. And
it's like talking about going on a date. Like,
yeah,
she was cool, but she just kind of thought
her shit didn't stink. Exactly. Oh man, one mind.
I don't give a fuck about dates, but I do want to hear more about this this Steam summer sale.
Dude, yeah, it's still going on until maybe a few days from now, and you should snag a few things.
Is there anything
on the 5th?
Well, I'll tell you what, we will definitely talk about it after the podcast for sure, because I kind of want to see what all we want to play together. And, you know, I know that's always difficult for the four of us. And I feel like that's a good segue into the next thing, is that I know that it tends to be about a month between every video, and our streams have gotten kind of thin. And, you know, we're just trying to make sure that we can play games together. And so, like, I'm kind of wanting to look at that stuff with you guys and see if that's anything that you would be interested in, and we can just see what we might be able to play. Because I get into this weird rut to where I'm just like, yeah, that looks like a co-op game for sure, but does it look like anything I would give a shit about? And I know that that's something that we struggle with. I'm sure that a lot of, like, YouTubers, like, what's that, like fucking Achievement Hunter and Funhouse and all those people like that, you know, like, there are other groups of YouTubers that, like, do kind of the same thing that we do, and I wonder if ever like one or two of them are just like, I don't want to fucking play this game. like,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, difference between them and us is they're making money.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
true.
So I think that one thing that the four of us are going to try to do so that we can just sort of continue to roll content out and have a good time is figure out a way where we can continue to do it and also enjoy ourselves in whatever capacity we can. Because I know that
Jerk off while you play.
is there a I don't know about to say, but just
I said what I said.
Just okay. Is there a PlayStation summer sale going on? Because that'd probably be the easiest way for me to play with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that there's. Well, actually, to come to think of it, I think there is a PlayStation sale going on, but it's doing notoriously bad. Like, I saw a meme making fun of it. Yeah, the meme making fun of it was something to the effect of, who gives a shit about the Steam summer sale when we got the PlayStation summer sale? And it was like chess was 10% off, so it was like $15.
Right.
Dude, we should stream some chess.
Well, you know, Minecraft's about to go 4K, so we can jump into that shit.
No, we can't.
But yeah, you know, let me go ahead and look into some comments so I can sort of like segue into what I'm talking about here. One of the comments that we got here recently was something to the effect of, you guys are great, but you should be coming out with videos more often. To which I have to say, yeah, you're right. But what that ties into a comment that we always get from other people is, man, you should have more viewers. And I think until we do, and until we're making the kind of money in donations and ad money and things like that that can actually sustain us, what you're seeing right now is what you can kind of expect. Like a video about every month, hopefully a stream every week if we can manage it. And that's if we can even like make sure to schedule time to spend together. So I'm just enjoying doing it in the capacity that we've got, and I'm glad that we've got such supportive fans. Let's go ahead and hear from some of them. Job Robberman says, you guys managed to make such randomness, yet still somehow make sense. Elections, guards, tar babies, moon landings. It all makes sense in a sort of cosmic way. For real, though, you guys do some cool stuff and tend to reach back to older episodes, making it all feel connected and logical, yet hilarious at the same time. Keep up the good work. And that means a lot to me, because that's sort of like what I try to aim for with the editing, is sort of weaving a story together from just the stupid shit that we do. So that's pretty cool. I appreciate the hell out of that job.
Especially the moon landing.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in, but I thought I'd let Ian handle it.
Eric Bacon says you guys should have at least another 10,000 subscribers. Your videos are so fun. Thank you.
What our street team is for. Get on that, Eric.
Yeah, get on that, Eric.
Go graffiti some walls.
Go post some flyers.
We got
some levers.
We got
yours is a little bit more legal than mine.
We got some feedback on the Rust video, which is what I asked for, since the Rust video was unlike anything else we'd done, in the fact that I had subtitles for almost every word of spoken text. It took me twice as long to edit, and part of why we're a little behind. But let's see. Yes, Joseph Lavigor says, very funny, but if I were to make a suggestion, it'd be don't make the text all appear at once. It'd take more work if you do a read-along, but I think it will be funnier. And to that, Joseph, I'd say, I honestly am probably not even going to come back to the subtitles until we've got more time for it, or find a way to do more than one person editing on that at a time. Which is why we're considering changing, setting up like a donation goal so that we can work towards some like hardware to make editing easier for us. But we'll get into that another time. Let's see, a lot of people saying that they came over from Reddit and that they have subscribed and they like our stuff. We've got, of course, the comments that are like, yeah, but we're Starbound, so obviously it's been one whole video since our last Starbound video, so people are starting to get antsy.
Now look, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We've put out more videos this year than JonTron has. He hasn't had a video in 7 months.
I've actually been rewatching some JonTron, and man, where'd you go?
I know. I miss everything pre-Starcade so bad.
Well, I actually like Starcade, but
yeah, I'll go ahead and get it on record in case like we ever were to get famous enough that people would start trolling our videos to dig up shit that we said. JonTron, I'm a huge fan. I really am, and I would love to collaborate, but I think we are all in agreement, in honest, critical agreement, that some of our favorite YouTubers have fallen off of the end in terms of quality. And so, like, that's sort of where we're hoping to pick up the slack just a little bit. And who can fucking blame him? We spent a lot of time last podcast just talking about all the controversy in his life. You know? If I were in that same boat, I'd probably just take a fucking break. You know? Or else somebody call me a damn Nazi as soon as I make a dick joke.
True, but that's his, like, entirely livelihood.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have another job that I'm aware of. So, like, he can't take that long of a break.
Yeah, like with YouTubers like that, I mean, the longer they wait, the more they hurt themselves, because he's just bleeding subscribers. I mean, he's been bleeding subscribers since all this controversy came up to begin with, but that, you know, the ones that stuck around, they're just going to keep unsubbing if he's not putting out content, you know, at least once every 6 months.
Yeah.
So
I think it's that weird balance of you want to do what you love because you love it, and you also want to please your fans. One of my favorite pieces of poetry, which is weird to call it poetry, but are you guys familiar with I did that thing, I forgot his goddamn name.
Tupac?
Yes, Tupac Shakur. So Tupac Shakur is a white stand-up comedian who no, but the guy I'm thinking of is a white stand-up comedian.
It's not Tupac then.
Well, regardless, there was a stand-up comedian I saw recently who did a bit where he talks about his greatest enemy is the audience, because he wants to please them, but he wants to also make himself happy, and it's a hard, you know, balance. It's a very difficult balance, so I empathize with it.
Was it Bill Burr?
No, it wasn't Bill Burr. Bill Burr's funny though.
I bet it was Bill.
We had
and one time Tupac said, "Reality is wrong and dreams are for real."
Well, there you go.
That also applies.
Maybe I was thinking of Tupac Shakur.
It was Clive Owen.
But it was Bill Burr. But it could have been Clive Owen. I haven't seen that motherfucker in a while.
Also, one time Tupac said, "I don't have no fear of death. My only fear is coming back reincarnated."
Fabulous. Okay, so getting back on track here.
I'm going to finish up these comments.
Go ahead.
I'm going to finish up these comments because I know I'm taking a little bit longer than I ought to. Red, I thought you might want to know that we had some people digging through old videos, and I had one person decide they wanted to quote their favorite part of our World of Warcraft video by saying, "I'm still a bad bitch."
I'll pass that along. That's great.
And then yet another one who says, "I bet it was Alpha Zero that pissed off those pigmen 4 years ago."
Who said it?
That was VD.
Oh, that's actually Huffy.
Oh, is it?
What if it was?
Fuck him.
Go find him.
I know where he lives. Let's go get him.
Let's go get him right now.
We'll see y'all later.
Got some business we got to take care of. It's just a bad time, guys.
Okay. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and transition to actually talking about E3. We're going to take the Microsoft conference first, which usually takes place chronologically first. Who wants to lead that conversation?
What conversation? What are we doing?
Okay, with Microsoft's press conference
Yeah.
at E3 this year, which they, sorry, you might have said this. They were like one of the first, if not the first press conference, weren't they?
Yeah, I feel like
Of
they took
E3?
place before the rest of them we plan on talking about anyway.
Yeah, of the main three, they always go first.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so out of the gate, their biggest announcement, pretty much main announcement, was their more about the Project Scorpio, which now has an official name of the Xbox One X.
Yes.
So, what are our thoughts on the Xbox One X?
Do you really want my fucking thoughts?
Let's hear it. man.
Isn't that the point of this fucking
That's
podcast?
the point. Unleash. Uncap. Unleash. Dicks out, man. Let's see what you got.
For Harambe.
Oh boy. I don't like it. I think that's an
All right, well he's done. All
Well,
right, it's like some
that's good stuff.
Nintendo level bullshit
Yeah.
of a name.
I gotta agree. I gotta agree. Well, the thing is, we've talked about this before about how the console naming has gotten to the point to where it almost sounds like they're intentionally named to confuse people. Like it can't be intentional. But you talk about the Wii and the Wii U; those are so similarly named that it sounds like it's not even a different console. You talk about the Xbox One, and you imagine grandmas going in and buying their kids original Xboxes because they don't know the difference. And now we talk about the Xbox One X, which was released right after the Xbox One S. Like that's not even a different enough like audible sound.
You're summing up exactly how I feel coming from like a retailer's standpoint point of view. Because I ran into that same thing. It took me a while to get used to calling the first Xbox the original Xbox, because for the longest time I just referred to it as the Xbox One because it was the first one, you know. So, you know, I started working at the store I work at now right before or right as the Xbox One came out. So it took me some getting used to start calling it the Xbox One and the other one the original Xbox. And now that same thought came to mind with the One X and the One S. Just sounds so close together. Like if somebody calls a store looking for one or the other, I'm gonna have to like make sure it's one they're referring to. So it's
S as in Sally or X as in xylophone.
Yeah. And I liked Scorpio. I honestly like the name Project Scorpio. I mean,
did too.
I know Project was there because it was, you know, the project. It was in beta or whatever. But even if they just drop Project and just call it the Scorpio, I understand it's like the next evolution of the Xbox One, but still, I like that way better than Xbox One X. It's just...
But it's so the acronym can be Xbox.
That's stupid.
Except it's not, because Xbox is one word. There's no B to represent the B.
That is true.
Just silent shushing. I don't know what I would have called it though. Like you said, call it the Scorpio, you know. But like, just historically, we've never had a console keep their like code name. Like for example, I remember reading in Nintendo Power a long time ago where a kid was like, "I think the dolphin should look like a dolphin. Like it should be a life-size dolphin that you put the cartridges in the mouth of." And like the Nintendo Power people responding, like you could tell it was their nicest way of saying, "You are dumb as fuck," and that is dumb as fuck.
What an idiot!
But you know, the dolphin wound up being the GameCube, and I like that one. But you know, take the Wii for example. Everybody remember what its code name was?
I actually don't.
The Revolution.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
And I think that was a cool ass name. It was the Revolution, and I think that would have been cool. Obviously, we all hated the Wii, but you know, the original Wii was very successful.
It was.
But
And it was very different, so it was kind of revolutionary.
Yeah.
It could have been the Weevolution.
The game sucked. But it had waggle controls.
Name aside, how do you feel about the Xbox One X as a concept? Is it something you're interested in getting?
I was already interested in it before because I've never owned an Xbox One, so I was always under the mindset that, you know, they're going to come out with this souped up Xbox One on steroids, supposed to be the most powerful console ever to exist, all that, all the bells and whistles. So why not just wait and get the Xbox or the Scorpio or whatever whenever it comes out, since I've never had one and I still would like to own one. But One S's are getting really cheap now since the Scorpio has been announced. Especially since E3, I think they've already had like a $40 to $50 price reduction at my store since E3.
Yeah.
So it's they're getting pretty cheap. Like, in my opinion, there's literally zero reason to own an original Xbox One if you don't already have one. You might as well just get the One S because they're getting so much cheaper. And they're literally like less than half the price of what the Xbox One X is going to be, which price is another thing. Because when they first announced the specs to all this stuff, I was looking upwards to like, man, this system's going to cost like $1,000 because there's, it's got so much into it. So when they announced it at 500, a lot of people bitched about that, like, oh, that's really expensive. I'm like, that's actually, in my opinion, really reasonable for what you're getting. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't the original Xbox One launch at like 450 or 500? Wasn't it
something around that range? That's part of why I was so excited to get my Xbox One at such a reasonable price. So yeah, it was somewhere around there.
I think the price is reasonable, only if you've never had an Xbox One already, which at this point is probably just very few people because a lot of people either have the Xbox One or the PS4 or both. So you're not appealing to the same amount of people that you were when the original Xbox One came out. But like in my situation, I would still be interested in having an Xbox One X. I think $500 is very reasonable. But I'm also tempted to save $300 and just get a One S since they're getting so much cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've been the most negative person about these consoles since the last few podcasts, and that's why I kind of want to minimize my input on it because I have been a pretty big PC master race asshole about a lot of things. But I'm excited for it, if only for the notion of more people getting Xboxes and being able to play more games that we play on Xbox with more people. Because, like, I don't know if any of our fans have experienced this, but, like, for the past several years, like, our friends group has been just fucking split. Like, and it sucks. Because some people got Xbox, some people got PlayStation, some people, like myself, devoted more time towards upgrading PCs. And so, like, I am excited for it, if only for the fact of more people getting it. But we didn't hear a whole lot about the thing that I was concerned about out of this conference, which is wanting to see more cross-platform multiplayer stuff. Our friend Matt said something in our Discord channel earlier to where he said, I'm starting to think cross-platform multiplayer is a unicorn, that we're not ever actually going to see it. Like, people talk about it, but, it's probably not really in the works. For example, there's a game that a lot of people are interested in right now, and that's PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It got an announcement that it was coming to Xbox One, and apparently they're working on cross-platform multiplayer, which would be good, because I know several of our friends are interested in getting on Xbox. I would rather get it on PC, and I just want to fucking play with people. So there is to it. But are they going to do it? Probably not, because basically every time we hear this announcement anymore, it's just them saying it. It's them saying, yeah, we'd like to do it, but they like never do it.
Yeah. At least this time, well, I mean, several other times they've done it to where it was a game that was only on, like, Windows 10 and Xbox. And as far as I know, those still can't really play together either. So, like you said, I mean, you can wish in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one fills up first. Like, it's, it's going to happen, maybe.
I'd love to hear you paraphrase the rest of the shit we say tonight.
I don't want to do that.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I won't get much into it because y'all have all pretty much said my thoughts as far as the Xbox One X goes. Like as far as specs and stuff like that are. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, it's cool and I'm excited about it and it's got a lot of cool, specs and features and stuff like that. But overall, like, I mean, I may get one, but I'm not gonna hold my breath because I said I may get an Xbox One. I said I may get a Switch. I've never done it. Unless I get like a nice chunk of money coming in out of nowhere somewhere, tax return or something, I ain't gonna get it. Like, so
I'll sum up my feelings for it in one sentence. I'm interested, but I'm getting a Switch first. So I'm gonna get a Switch before I ever get an Xbox One.
I think that's just the motto for the Xbox One. Yeah, it looks cool, but wouldn't you rather have a Switch?
If I didn't already have one, I'm on the complete opposite of that, but we'll talk about that when we get to Nintendo.
I feel like I kind of want to transition into the next conference, but, I'm sure there might be some games you want to talk about, and so in case there are, I want to start with one and then hand it off to you guys. How do you guys feel about Dragon Ball FighterZ?
It looks so good.
My most anticipated anything announced from E3.
I'm not gonna say
it's probably my second.
I'm not gonna say it's my most anticipated, but mainly it looks really good, and I'm really excited about it. But I've never been a big fan of who is it? What other fighting game?
Like Guilty Gear and
and Blaze Blue. Yeah. I've never been a huge fan of those styles of games. Now, like, it looks good, and I'm excited. But I also know that like those styles of fighting games are very like they're kind of technical.
They're
you know?
incredibly technical. Well, me and you had fun playing it last time.
We did, but we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Like,
I know, but that was a demo.
I know. But the point I'm trying to make is like the game looks really fun, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to get it and enjoy it. But like, it's one of those games that I don't feel like I will ever be able to like go online and play.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah,
I can get that.
Yeah.
I heard some feedback on it because I didn't get to go to E3 this year like I did last year. I had the ticket, but I just didn't go. But the or my district manager went again, and one of my coworkers actually went, and they both played it, and they both came back with like excellent reviews on it. And it's great because one of them's not even like a big anime fan, like he likes Dragon Ball, but doesn't really go very much past that. And then the other one is an anime fan, but has never really been too big into Dragon Ball. But they both came away really enjoying Dragon Ball Fighters, and I think one, if not both of them, it was definitely like in their top 3, if not their favorite thing they tried out at E3 this year.
Yeah,
so that was really good to hear.
I've seen a few videos that did some really cool comparisons of Vegeta when he does his final flash attack, and it would freeze frame the game and transition straight to the manga, and it looks identical. Like it looks awesome.
I saw something very similar to that. That was Trunks doing his like cliche anime bullshit sword slash, where he like goes through them and sits there for a second, and then they explode. I saw one of that, and it looked just identical to the anime and the manga.
Its art style looks great.
It's subtle things like that that really impress me. Because the one thing I pointed out, I think I told you about this, Ian, was that video that I saw right after E3 of Gohan's gameplay, and it was the first of all, his father-son Kamehameha is OP as fuck, and then secondly, there was that quick Kamehameha he does that is identical to like the cocky Kamehameha he does against Cell in the anime. Yeah, and that was just, and the way it transitions from just that 2D side-scrolling fighter into like the full 3D anime scene, is seamlessly like that is beautiful.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I think that is the best word to describe it. It looks beautiful.
It's the most impressed I've been since like the first Naruto PlayStation 3 games, like where they really started blending cell
Storm
shading. Yeah, because like that's when they really started blending cell shading with non-cell shaded backgrounds, and I think that's when they really started to piece together what makes it look like it's straight off of the frame from the show.
Yeah. They didn't show it at E3 at any of the conferences, but this next Naruto game that's coming up looks incredibly good too. It reminds me of that jump in graphics, to where it looked great again.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next one is like another jump. It looks fucking amazing.
That's awesome. Is there anything else that we really want to talk about with Xbox and Xbox games before we transition?
I want to talk about Code Vein just real quick.
Okay.
They showed it. They got to show it at their conference. It's not exclusive. Hardly anything they showed was really exclusive. They showed a lot of multiplats, but Code Vein is basically a wholly anime bullshit version of Dark Souls, but it looks awesome. Like I'm down. It looks super, I don't know, just gritty, and like the main character looks kind of like a vampire looking dude. It's almost Castlevania looking.
Yeah, Reddit'd be super into a game about veins.
Yeah. Oh my god. Why, Jesse? Why? we were doing well. We're off to a good start, and we were just running with it.
Now he's got to leave.
Anyway, I haven't heard anything about this game or seen anything about it, but just based off what little you just said, Chase, it sounds like something I definitely need to look into, because it looks like something to be kind of right up my alley.
Yeah, check it out. It looks. I'm excited for it. It looks pretty cool. And then the other game I want to talk about is Anthem, just real quick. And boy, does it sure look like the fucking Division. And by that, I mean we're not gonna get what we seen.
Yeah. Have any of you guys seen Anthem?
I've seen a little bit about it. Yeah. It wasn't just based off what I saw. It didn't look like anything I'd be too interested in, so I didn't really pay a whole lot.
It looked kind of interesting, but I think the biggest reason I was interested in it is because it looked kind of like what I was expecting out of Destiny, but didn't get. And I think we might talk a little bit about Destiny as we transition into the PlayStation conference. But yeah, like I'm intrigued, but I want to see more of it before I really settle down to setting high expectations.
Okay, well that's all I got for games. You wanna You want to wrap up Microsoft and say what we thought about it
Mm-hmm.
as a whole?
Oh yeah, ratings. Didn't you say we wanted to like grade these things?
Yeah, I do personally. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
No, I'm down.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I feel like I want to give like letter grades.
Yeah, A through F is fine.
I want to give Microsoft a solid B, but I do feel like that's the the kind of thing that you you praise somebody who got an F when they announced the Xbox in the first place. I feel like that they've really done over the past several years everything they can to rebuild confidence in their brand, and I think that's something that I admire. But not an A because, like we already heard, not a whole lot of exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be as nice as you.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
I'm gonna give them maybe like a C minus.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I give it a C minus.
Because I mean, yeah, Xbox One X was cool, and what couple games they showed were cool, but that's it.
They
Like,
didn't
that's
didn't bring a lot to the table.
That's all
this
they
year.
showed, And we're gonna talk about this more when we get into Sony and Nintendo. But I mean, yeah, announcing your new system's cool, but you gotta have games.
It's not even-
That's what people are there for,
It's not
Yeah.
that they announced their new system. They announced their new system last year.
Yeah, I know.
They just revealed more about it.
Revealed
So-
the disappointing name. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's one of the main reasons they did as poorly for me this year is that they just, it's really interesting, I think, because, like, you're really starting to see, I think, based on this year's E3, that, like, you don't have to have some gimmick or anything like that. If you just come and show people the games you're working on, people will fucking love it, Like, so I'm going to go with a C minus for Microsoft.
Like, not to get ahead of ourselves, but like Nintendo did with a couple of games, just tell them what games you're working on.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. it kinda
We'll
takes a lot
talk
from, like, a
about
big-
we'll talk about that. I actually have an issue.
Yeah, I've got some issues with Sony and Nintendo myself, but
Yeah, I mean, with the exact same thing you just mentioned.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we'll get into that when we get into Nintendo.
All right.
But
I'm personally also gonna give Microsoft a B, but literally only because they haven't had a good conference in years, and then this one was just okay.
Yeah.
Like maybe a low B, like B minus, something like that.
I agree that this one was okay, but my okay score is a C minus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole E3 was just okay. Like I would have been upset if I'd paid all the money to go. I really would have been.
Yeah.
Well, I actually heard that that like people who are at this E3, like there was more to do.
It looked like, okay, so just comparing what I saw on Facebook to what I did last year, because it's a completely different experience from what we see on TV.
Oh yeah.
When you're there, you don't even see what's being told on TV. You just get to walk around the show floor and experience stuff. And just based off what my district manager and my coworker were posting on Facebook, it looked like there was a lot more to just get into this year. Because last year when I went, the big thing I wanted to do was play Zelda. And I got to do that. And then there was a couple other games that I walked up on and I saw, Bloodstained or whatever. And I'm like, oh, great. I didn't know this was going to be here. I can play this. But, Bloodstained, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, Final Fantasy 15. That's really about all I got to do last year, and plus Zelda.
This year you could have done Final Fantasy 15 fishing.
I could have done fishing, yes.
I guess this year had to be a little bit more to do because it was actually open to the public for the first time in forever.
I think that was a big thing. I think that's why there was a lot more interactive stuff because it was open to the public. Although also based off what those guys came back and told me, I mean, this is just based off what they said, but it sounds like this may be a one and done. I don't know how much money they made off of it. They might continue doing it, but I know there was a lot of people who, like press or media, people who were supposed to get in the first place, upset with it because there's that many more people there, and that was to be kind of expected.
Yeah.
But then, like my coworker was saying, because there's two stories at the LA Convention Center. The second floor is usually just like little rooms, each one to a developer or whatever, and they're only like available to people who have special access. Like I couldn't get into them last year. You have to have special access to go in there and play games and do all this sort of stuff. And there was my coworker was saying there were so many people who were just flooding that second floor, trying to get into those rooms, having to be like making just a big mess out of things.
Yeah,
I could, I didn't consider that before when they first opened it to the public, but after he came back and told me that, and just thinking about if I had seen that happen last year, I can see like, oh yeah, I can see why that would be a pretty huge problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It still remains to be seen. They might have made a ton of money off of it and continue doing it, and that's where it all comes back to is the
That's what
money.
it boils down to.
But I don't know.
But overall, I feel like we all kind of have a similar feeling about the Microsoft conference.
But we're just rating it slightly different for slightly different subjective reasons. Well, with that case, let's go ahead and start talking about PlayStation. Does anybody in particular want to lead that discussion?
I will.
Okay, go for it, man. I'm excited about it.
I was extremely, extremely happy with Sony this year. There was one down part of their show, but other than that, overall, I really enjoyed their show.
Well,
Because going back to what I just mentioned in the Microsoft, when we're talking about Microsoft, is Microsoft didn't have anything really to go with them announcing not announcing, but revealing the console or whatever. Whereas Sony just came games.
Yeah.
Well, my problem with the Sony.
Headline to your article. You know,
No, but my problem with the Sony thing is, yeah, they came games, but they literally only showed, well, outside of VR, which is a fucking meme as far as I'm concerned now.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah.
Yeah, but like they showed 2 games that they didn't show last year. Like, get fucked. We already knew about every one of these games. It kind of sucks that we got the same shit that we could have got in trailers on YouTube.
That's fair.
You're right. I mean, you're right. But like, a lot of what we saw though was just honestly just so above my expectations. Like, so many of the games were games that I was already excited about, but I'm even just more so now. But like, as far as what you were just saying about the VR thing, that was my down point.
Yeah.
The VR part went on way too long. There were way too many games that they could have just instead of going through different trailers of all of these different games, they could have just done a quick montage and just showed you this is all the shit we're working on VR. The only way, in my opinion, they could have salvaged that little section was if at the very end of it, what's his name came out and was like, yeah, it's $100 cheaper now too.
Yeah.
That I could have been like, yeah, well, that okay, I understand why you just put so much fucking stock into the VR, but I'm not spending the money I'd spend on a new console on the VR.
Zero
And,
interest.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have seen where people who did play that Final Fantasy fishing game at E3 fucking enjoyed the hell out of it.
Dude, when it showed that trailer, I lost my shit. It was so funny because, you don't know what's going on yet, and it's playing this heavy metal music, and then all of a sudden, here's Noctis reeling in a big-ass fish.
We laughed our asses off.
I was like, what the fuck is it?
Oh, man, we laughed our asses off.
But there are so, Sony had just 4 or 5 games that I just am so excited for. Number one among them, probably the most excited game I'm most excited for in all of them right now, is God of War.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I was already excited about God of War. I've never been a huge God of War fan, but I do like the franchise. But I'm super excited about the Norse theme with this one. And dude, it looks so huge because one of my favorite parts about this trailer that they showed, or the gameplay trailer that they showed, was you see so much. There's so much going on. There's so much huge scenes in it, but we have yet to even see a god.
That's important.
Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people are giving it shit because they're like, oh, it looks like The Last of Us. And I'm just like, well, yeah, but it's because it's pretty, compared to the old ones.
Well, I'll tell you what. To me, this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but it reminds me a little bit of Linkin Park, because they're taking something that people still have a lot of nostalgia towards, still have a lot of care for, but transitioning genre. Because similar to people have told me we won't ever hear Linkin Park as it was because rap rock is dead. I don't know if we'll ever see a game like the old God of War games were, because that style of action game is very PlayStation 2 era now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel it.
I agree and disagree because Nier is very God of War like.
Fair point. And take what I say with a grain of salt, because I disagree with a lot of people that use those comparisons anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say games like Bayonetta and stuff as well, and fucking Darksiders, yeah.
Yeah, those are games that's been out for a while.
Yeah,
They're basically just getting re-released.
Yeah. But still, I see where you're coming from. The only difference between between God of War and Linkin Park is at least there's some semblance of what God of War once was.
They're not talking shit about the
and Kratos is just like fuck anyone who liked what I used to do.
God.
As far as God of War, I'm in the same boat as Ian because I enjoyed the old God of War games, but they weren't like among my top games of all time or anything like that. But I'm really, really hyped about the new one. And I was hyped last year when they first announced it, and they showed off a little bit more this year, and it got me pretty hyped. And see, I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself because I gave Microsoft some shit because I'm like, you announced the Project Scorpio last year. We knew that was coming. All you do is just show off more about it. And that's exactly what they did with God of War and Spider-Man, which we'll get into. But in my opinion, there's a difference. Like, you can't keep talking about a console without showing off games and other shit.
Yeah, I agree.
But games you can keep showing more and more about. Like, there's a difference between
because last year all we got with Spider-Man and God of War was just hey, we're
like
doing
a
cinematic
small
trailer.
reveal, yeah. And people need that because, like, take for example things like the new Mass Effect. We got a reveal for it several years ago, and then no follow up until that shitty ass game just fell out of the womb. Like, no real like progress updates. So I think that it invests a lot more trust in the brand to give you more information as you go on.
Absolutely. But what were y'all's thoughts on like God of War and stuff like that? Like,
well, since I haven't talked about it yet, I think that I might actually play it because I haven't played any of the God of War games, and I'm a real huge fan of how I'm a huge fan of just literature and storytelling, but I'm also a huge fan of like how storytellers go about either reviving an old franchise or rebooting it or remaking it, and like I'm intrigued about God of War because a lot of the promotional material we've seen is very shrouded in mystery because everybody that's played the God of War games knows that there really shouldn't be a continuation, and I want to know what's going on. Like
I agree.
I'm very curious of that. And then another game similar to that I have less interest in is the new Assassin's Creed game because that's a trilogy, a series that should be over but isn't. And they're like rebooting it, and the only interest I have in that game at all is just curiosity. I want to know what it is they're doing with the story.
With Assassin's Creed, I've never been an Assassin's Creed fan. I've only played the first one, and it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I just never had any interest in going back. I've had plenty of people tell me, "Oh, it gets better." The second one, third one, blah blah blah. But that first one was just like, I'm not feeling it, so I had no interest in playing it. But I guess it's theming. I guess it's the Egyptian theme of the new one that looks interesting to me. So I wouldn't mind giving it a shot. I'm not going to go out and like rent it or anything like that.
Well,
but
I'll put it to you this way: if you're not an Assassin's Creed fan, just heed the warning of Yahtzee Crawshaw, because I watched one of his videos recently to where he said, you know what Assassin's Creed fans want now? A new Assassin's Creed game that's exactly the same but doesn't have the mini-map anymore. Because that's like the only distinction that there really seems to be, is that it seems to be just mostly the same game with sans minimap to try to mix things up. So I'll say this: I adored Assassin's Creed from 1 up. Like, I thought 1 was my second favorite, 2 was my absolute favorite, and everything else was just garbage on fire. So if you didn't like the first one, by all means, you're not into it.
Yeah.
Ace, do you have anything to say about God of War or anything?
I'm super excited for it. I've played every God of War except for that like prequel one that was on PSP, I think. I can't remember the name of it, but I never played that one.
Chains of Olympus or Ghosts of Sparta.
Yeah, they had like 3 PSP ones. But...
Okay, then maybe there's 3 I haven't played. I've played all the main ones then. Played 1 through 3. I loved all of them. They're excellent games. I'm pumped for this one. I think it's more God of War like than they're showing.
I agree.
I think like a lot of the shots are him walking and talking to that kid, and like you can't base the whole game after that. And then when he does get in the fight, it looks quite fast, like Nier or like God of War or Bayonetta or anything that plays like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be fine. It looks excellent, but Monster Hunter World is the better game.
Is that what we're transitioning into next or not? Go ahead, Ian.
Nah, that's what I want to talk about, but after we're done with God of War.
Go ahead, Ian.
One of the main things that got me super hyped about God of War, though, like I think the scene that got me the most hype was the part where they are on that little boat, and all of a sudden that big ass creature starts coming out. And the Kratos is like, "What is that, boy?" And the boy is just like, "It's the World Serpent." I was like, "Holy shit, it's Midgar's armor! Oh my god!" Like,
I like how before his kid could talk to it, he's already getting that axe out like I'm about to have to whip someone's ass.
I mean, it's Kratos, he knows.
And I might be proven wrong as it gets closer to release, but so far, based on what we've seen over the last 2 years, it does kind of look like a point in the series where even if you didn't play the older games, as long as you're kind of familiar that Kratos is this badass that's going around killing gods, as long as you're kind of somewhat familiar with them, you can pick up right here. Yeah. Especially with the title, they might change it, they might add more to it, but with it just simply being called God of War, it seems like it's kind of a sequel / reboot.
I feel like it's a .1.
Yeah.
Like comic book.
I'm calling it. I think he dies or something. Because
I think he does.
I think you'll get control of the kid or something.
Do. I completely agree. But that is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen a lot of people wondering if it's the same Kratos, and he has the scar from being killed in 3. So I don't know. We'll see.
It does seem like he's had some character development though, because he seems way more just chillax.
Chill. He just went through some anger management. Like, all right, Kratos, you killed literally every Olympus god. So like, we're gonna need you to count to 10 whenever you start getting angry.
Yeah, and the previous game seemed like he was kind of like, just I'm angry and I'm gonna fuck bitches in some mini games and stuff and kill gods. Now he's just like, fuck, I got a kid. I guess we're gonna walk through the woods.
On that note, and in the interest of time, Chase, you mentioned Monster Hunter World, so I figure we could talk about that pretty quickly.
Yeah, the only 2 games they showed that weren't there last year outside of VR was Monster Hunter World and Shadow of the Colossus, which, in my opinion, is a remake no one asked for. That game was fine by itself. But having said that, it looks good, and I'm excited for it, but, like, who asked for it? Anyway.
Can I intervene a minute?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Has it been confirmed that it's a remake?
It is a remake. It's a remake because they've remastered it already. Like it's not just an HD texture pack. It's a rebuild.
Yeah, it's ground up.
Okay.
And I'm pumped for it, but I didn't ask for it. Like, to give you some context, Shadow of the Colossus is my favorite game of all time. I shrieked like a little girl, but I shrieked like a little girl because I thought it was a sequel. Like, because that's what I kind of wanted. Like, in this era where for some fucking reason we don't have backwards compatibility, like, the only reason I'm excited for it is because I want it on my PlayStation 4. I don't have a working copy of it to play on anything right now. I would have taken the remaster.
I am of a very similar opinion. I've never played Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about this because I've always wanted to, but I don't want to go back and play it on my PS2. So I'm super excited about it, like because I've heard how good of a game it is. And
like I'll play it, but it came out of nowhere, and I could also do without it if that makes sense.
Well, I'm just kind of iffy about how we're in this phase now that will probably go on forever, where we do kind of expect remakes and remasters as much as just brand new titles. Because there was something about like older games, like old NES games, Super Nintendo games that were just on that console, and if you wanted to play them, you had to
pull it out and blow it off.
You had to go get that console and play it. Of course, virtual console and stuff like that, but that's not even a remake. That's just a re-release.
Yeah, and I would have been fine with that. Like that's the thing is that's an unfortunate consequence of this post backwards compatibility era of gaming that we're in. Is that we have to expect re-releases. We have my girlfriend just got the Crash Bandicoot remake because she just wanted to fucking play it. And to give you some context, she couldn't even tell the graphics had been changed because she didn't give a shit about the graphics. She just wanted to play it. And she had no way of doing so unless we hooked up an old PlayStation. So I think
that's one of my things going into like the Shadow of the Colossus remake though, is like that's one of the reasons why I don't want to go back and play it on PS2 is because since it is my first experience with it, the graphics I do feel would negatively affect it.
Yeah, you might as well play the best version.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just like those older games, it just takes away the magic from the older stuff because
I agree.
I'll buy that. Yeah, like I'm excited for it. I think it was great, but again, I would have been fine with it the way it was.
Well, something I see said a lot about this generation now is they're like artistically bankrupt. They just keep remastering and remaking old games. They can't come up with anything new.
Yeah, they've finally gotten in video games where movies have been for several years. To where like they're just taking old IP and it's more cost effective for them because they don't have to come up with a new concept. They know we'll eat it up and we'll bitch about it. We had. Go ahead.
I'll let you finish your thought because I've been slightly off.
No, it's
Well,
fine.
go ahead.
And we may go long today, guys, because I feel like we're really having
Yeah,
a valuable
I've got a
conversation.
couple more things I
Well,
want to
we've
talk
got a few
about.
months of podcasting to kind
Yeah,
of catch
and
up on here.
I've got a few more games in PlayStation.
Everybody's gonna get a chance to talk. Like if this goes long, fuck it. Like that's where I am on it.
I don't care. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm cool.
so like the thing is, we had a conversation recently where one of our friends was like, "Why is everybody mad at Bethesda for not?"
Oh, yes.
Why is everybody mad at Bethesda for not turning out a new game every year? And we had to be like, well, they haven't turned out a new game in like 3 years. Like we're just getting remasters and remasters and remasters. Like we're gonna get Skyrim on goddamn T81 calculator before we get a new Elder Scrolls.
I want to counter that real quick.
Yeah.
With the fact that most people's argument is they're like, I want another Elder Scrolls game. It's been 6 years since we've had a new Elder Scrolls game, and I'm just like, you're looking at it wrong though. Because Bethesda doesn't do it like that. You need to be looking at it as like it's been a certain amount of years since we've had a AAA title from Bethesda, and it's only been 2 years since Fallout 4 came out.
Yeah.
And the time in between games, like the time that it takes to make big AAA titles like that nowadays, is getting longer and longer and longer and longer. I actually, to kind of fuel this argument, I actually looked up Elder Scrolls 3, Elder Scrolls 4, Fallout 3, Elder Scrolls 5, and Fallout 4. Like I looked up all those titles and saw when the release dates were, and literally as the games went on, the distance between those titles got bigger by a year each time.
Yeah.
So
taking more time and more
yeah,
money
because it would be like 1 year between them, and then the next two would be 2 years, and the next game would be 3 years, and like it's been 2 years since we had Fallout 4, and it's gonna probably be another 2 years before we even get a trailer for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, when that's the case, then I can kind of understand when you remaster something or re-release it. But at the same time, I'm getting really sick of Skyrim.
I agree. And but one thing people need to understand, also going into Bethesda, is first off, Bethesda will not announce something like they kind of made it clear over the past couple of years.
They will not announce it until it's nearly done.
Yeah, they only announce things that are like coming out soon. Like I don't think they announced a single thing this year that was in the second quarter of next year or later. Like everything comes out before then. So like that's one thing Bethesda does. They're like, hey, here's y'all like this game? Well, it's already on the App Store. Go play it. But like, and another thing is that it does suck that we keep getting Skyrim. But the fact of the matter is, and you may hate it, but people are gonna buy it. And it's
a cash cow.
Absolutely, and it's going to give them the money that will make Elder Scrolls 6 all that much better.
But that being said, the people who who keep buying the re-releases of Skyrim, I'm just as sick of them as I am Bethesda just keep releasing Skyrim.
But like,
because they're enabling it.
Yeah. But again, it's going to make Elder Scrolls 6 all the much better for it.
Argonius Doge wants to add, let's not forget that they're also splitting attention with ESO.
Yeah, that's something I've seen. People are just like, well, of course we don't have Elder Scrolls 6 yet. Right now, the latest Elder Scrolls game is the MMO, and I'm just like, I haven't played it since the beta. That beta sucked hot garbage.
It's way better.
It was fucking trash back then.
The beta was garbage. I played it too, and it was garbage.
Yeah, it sucked. But at the same time, you can't be like. You can't be like, well, the MMO is the new Elder Scrolls. What if I don't want to fucking play an MMO?
Well, to counter that, it is a different team working on ESO compared to their main story. Like,
and that too. That's something else that I knew that as well. But it's just like people are like, they're working on this, and I'm just like, no, they're not. It's the MMO team.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is kind of like the Skyrim cash cow that they keep doing. ESO is still a I don't know best analogy. It's like a bandage on the wound.
Yeah.
Like it is still them trying to appease the Elder Scrolls fans until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah,
so
and like
they're doing the best they can to give people, hey, we know you want it, but we're not going to announce it until it's well into the development. I feel like they've been working on it. I feel like they've been working on Elder Scrolls 6 for a while. I really do. But they're not going to announce it until they got something legit to show us. And until then, there's like, here's pretty much anything we can give you to just to bide your time, pretty much.
If there's anything I can say about it that I've been wanting to say and I've been saying since the last game is that I vow not to buy it unless they add some fucking door animations, because like it's 2017 and Skyrim still has a lot of the same weird engine quirks to it as Oblivion, and I feel like we can do better. Like it still
MMO's
feels.
the same way.
What now?
The MMO's the same way. I
Like
feel you.
you know, like I know that may sound like a really nitpicky thing to say, but I am the guy that at the E3 where they announced the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, I said this is not next gen. And that's how I feel about a lot of stuff. I feel like the textures have been improved, and that's about it. There are still some things that really take me out of the immersion.
I agree, and I can kind of see where you're coming from. You act like, it is a very nitpicky thing, but at the same time, one of the main selling points on like Elder Scrolls game is usually just how beautiful of a game it is. It's supposed to be, it's supposed to immerse you into this fantasy world. But then when you walk up to a door, press it, and then all of a sudden you're on the other side of the door, it does take away from that.
Or if I kill a chicken, it's like they just spotted Bin Laden in Times Square. Like,
right.
Like,
another problem. I'll go ahead and talk about this since we're talking about Skyrim specifically, because it could pertain to the Nintendo side of it too. But one issue I had with all the re-release announcements they made this year was like their biggest selling point, it seemed like, about Skyrim on the Switch was, if you have the amiibos, you can get Link's outfit from Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, that's great. I'll play on PC. I can probably get that now. That's not really.
Probably had it for years.
Probably, yes.
And that's another thing I do want to briefly talk on is I can't remember what it's called, the Bethesda creator content, whatever, like that little program they've got now for console gamers to like be able to download mods and stuff through and like stuff like that. A lot of people bitching about it. I actually think it's a cool idea. Because they are also like, not only is it just mods that the community is making, they are also getting like actual official developers who worked on Skyrim and stuff like that to make mods as well. And so you're going to be getting almost kind of paid DLC as well.
yeah.
I think it's a cool concept, and it will streamline the modding community for consoles, and I think that's really cool.
To play devil's advocate against the popular opinion, when they started trying to charge for mods on Steam, like to try and allow people to make money off their creations, the whole world was ready to lynch Gabe Newell, and I felt like I was the only one that was like, you guys are fucktards. Like I was so frustrated.
To counter that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's something they should ever do on PC.
Yeah.
Because it's already so easy on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's not super easy. And that's why I'm cool with it. It's helping streamline it. So I'm cool with it.
Well, can we talk about Knack 2?
Knack 2.
No, we're going to talk about Monster Hunter World because we're finally out of the clutches of fucking living in the past Nintendo graphics.
Oh my god, I'm so happy about it.
I'm so excited.
Oh, because Ian, you guys haven't played a Monster Hunter game before.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I have never, I've played a couple of Monster Hunter games, but I've never really been able to get into it.
I haven't.
And a little bit of it has been the graphics. And I'm pretty fucking excited for Monster Hunter.
Okay, well, please play it with us because we're gonna need people to play it with.
I'm so fucking pumped, man. Like they've changed a lot of things that I know Jesse will like, but I'm kind of like iffy on. Like Jesse used to hate the fact that when you drink a potion, your guy would flex for a second.
Yeah, it's an intentional mechanical thing. And
yes, it's like he said, it's an intentional mechanical thing to make you get better at the game instead of just like potion spamming. That way you won't die. Like you've got to know when to heal. You can't just I got hit, I'm gonna heal now. That monster will punish you. This shit's like Dark Souls.
It is. It's like a very cheerful Dark Souls, but it very much is. It forces you to master the game's mechanics in order to survive, and that means you have to plan around the fact that your guy is gonna do a stupid ass pose every time he heals. Like you've got to plan around your animations. You've got to do all these things. But I got over that. I remember telling Chase, I'm just not good at this game. Like, I love it, but I'm just not good at it, and I'm always going to hate it. But the one thing that I couldn't forgive is the fact that, like, this was a game that we were playing, well into the Wii, but it still felt like a PlayStation 2 game because all the zones were zoned off in really small chunks that had loading screens between them. And
that's all gone.
And that's gone. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's what I've been waiting for because I've told Chase several times this doesn't feel like a next-gen Monster Hunter game, and Chase wasn't as bothered by it, so I had nobody to bitch to about it. But, like now, it looks like it's seriously a next-gen Monster Hunter.
And like, the healing animation we were talking about, that's gone too now. You can heal while running, and that a lot of the hardcore Monster Hunter fans are just like, what is this fucking watered down bullshit? Like they're just like, I'm still gonna play it, but like, come on, there's no strategy anymore, and like you can like zip around like Spider-Man with your fucking like grappling hook, and like I get where they're coming from, but I'm too excited to have a new good looking Monster Hunter to care.
Yeah. I feel you. I definitely feel you.
And
I'm excited about it.
I know this is something that I would have saved for the actual like Nintendo conference portion of this podcast, but I was excited to get a Switch so that I could get that port of one of the crappy Monster Hunters. And now, screw that. I'm getting this. I'm watching TiVo.
On top of the fact that America's not getting that one, that's only going to Japan.
Yeah. So like that really took the wind out of my sails, but it was immediately filled with better wind. So
better wind.
Yeah, we flying high now, boys.
we on that good oxygen.
I've never played a Monster Hunter game, but if this is a PS4 game that you three are planning on getting and playing together, then I'll definitely give it a shot.
Damn straight. Then I'm down. It's a plan as far as I'm
already
concerned.
down.
Oh, I was already down too. Yeah. I had to hunt mostly by myself and try, so I was prepared.
Yeah.
I'm just over here itching for PS4 stuff that we can all do together, because that's the easiest way for me to play with you guys right now.
Yeah.
So
that goes back to the problems that we've had, is that like again we just keep getting split up. Like we've been thankful to finally play some Xbox games with some friends that we hadn't played with in a while, but we don't want that to be at the cost of being able to play with everybody and have a good time. So we'll get into this later when we have it nailed down. This is more podcast news, but we are considering streaming more often and making a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
But with that said, Rhett, didn't you want to talk about Spider-Man?
I do want to talk about Spider-Man. Okay, so my two biggest things that came away with from Sony's press conference were God of War and Spider-Man, which Spider-Man probably blew me away more so than God of War did, because it had that solid 10 minutes worth of gameplay footage or whatever, and it just looks fantastic. One thing I'll say about it is I really liked how it kind of at times felt like you were playing an interactive movie, because sometimes the camera would cut away and it would show something you did affect somewhere else, and it kind of looked like a movie scene, like a movie angle. I just hope the game doesn't rely too heavily on that. Like I hope it's not just constant, just cutscene, like mini cutscenes here and there while you're trying to play the game. But I thought the gameplay looked phenomenal. It looked like an Arkham game on steroids. It looked like the gameplay of him actually like webbing up the thugs and fighting them and stuff looked fantastic. And then that whole bit where he's swinging through the city and
chasing the helicopter,
which a lot of it was, I think, kind of like quick time stuff going on, but that still looked great, So I am super, super excited about the new Spider-Man game. I like the outfit. I like the white spider.
I really do.
The voice act, it's
Sasuke from Naruto.
Yeah,
Yuri Lowenthal.
Yeah, so sounds like he's doing a good job voicing Peter / Spider-Man. So I'm really excited over some Spider-Man.
Something that excites me about it is like not necessarily like fighting wise, but like the parts where he is swinging through the town and stuff. Honestly, for some reason, it just kind of gives me like an old school like Spider-Man 2 vibe. And,
it does,
and I'm cool with it.
And just little subtle things. We talked about the subtle things that was in Dragon Ball FighterZ that we really liked. Subtle things in this game that just a little attention to detail. Instead of him just webbing up a thug and being done with it, he actually webs him up and starts like raveling him up like a spider would.
Yeah,
that was just little things like that I noticed that just really took my breath away.
Yeah, and also like I already like his like quirkiness. I think he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Something
I love how
it's
going to be like its own game. It has nothing to do with the movies. Nothing.
Yeah, like I'm hoping the story is just legit. Like
I mean, he could die for all we know.
Yeah, I'm hoping the story is just legit, like an Arkham game. Like it's just its own thing. And
maybe it's successful enough to kick off like a trilogy, like Arkham did. Because this game is as good as like Arkham Asylum was. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for him, because I think Spider-Man game fans have been itching for a new good Spider-Man game ever since Spider-Man 2 on like GameCube and stuff like that, like you guys were talking about. Like it's something that's not been replicated.
To be fair, the Amazing Spider-Man was good.
Yeah,
but those were straight up just Arkham Spider-Man games, because that felt exactly like playing an Arkham City or something. But this looks like it took that formula and just perfected it.
Absolutely.
See, I've never played a Spider-Man game. I don't think I've owned a single one. Not because I don't like him. All I ever heard was how shitty they were, except for 2, and I never had 2 either. But the biggest complaint I see about the new one is everybody's like, "Oh, well, it looks just like the Arkham games," and I'm just like, "What the fuck's wrong with that? They were good." Like, who cares, man? Like, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
I think comparing it to the Arkham games is fair because that's what I've been doing this entire time. But I do not think it looks just like an Arkham game.
I agree.
Like I'm not watching that and being like, thinking,
tonal.
"Oh, it's just Arkham City with a Spider-Man makeover."
Well, tonally, it's
looks like
entirely
its own
different. Yeah, like it's definitely a more upbeat game. It's not like grimdark, and
there's plenty of reasons to compare it to Arkham.
Because of the mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics, and it's a superhero-based game and all that. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to do that. But it looks like its own game. It looks like it doesn't look like it just stole the Arkham formula.
Now, I'll tell you one comparison that I think is completely unmerited, and we were watching the IGN restream of E3, and afterwards they came out the gate trying to provide, journalistic commentary, and I don't blame them for trying to find something to babble about, but they were sitting there going, I thought it was open world, but now it looks linear. Now it looks like it must be more like a Uncharted game, and I'm like, where the hell are you getting that from? It still looks like an open world game, but
it looked like he just he could explore the city like he wanted to, but
in that particular moment, he chased the helicopter.
He went to that area because that's where the main quest was leading him, and then that led to the big helicopter chase scene. So I didn't get that at all.
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I think that was just it was a cinematic set piece, kind of like an Uncharted game, but that also happens in other open world games. So
Yeah, and it's the same team that made the Lightning Guy fucking games. I can't remember.
Infamous.
Infamous. Yeah, it's the Infamous teams, and they
I love Lightning Guy.
Yeah, they made Infamous 1, 2, and then Second Son, and then that little expansion to Second Son. Right? Yeah, Insomniac, and I really enjoy those games. So those were all very open world. So I think Spider-Man will be too, and I think it's going to be excellent because they've had all this time to perfect the formula for those type of games where you're a hero running around a city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Shut up. Anyways, I wanted to comment real quick on what I think was Jesse's favorite part of the whole trailer.
Oh, please.
And that was the after credits scene.
Yeah. So I'm a huge Miles Morales fan. I'm a huge fan of Miles Morales' story, and those of you that might not know, the best thing that can ever happen to a superhero in his storyline is he can die, and until they decide to undo that, because that's how comic books are. And in the comics, in the Ultimate Comics, Peter Parker died and was replaced by a young man named Miles Morales, and he's a really funny, quirky character. And I do not think they're going to kill off Peter in this story, because
absolutely not this one.
Yeah, because
I think they've already said that they're not going to.
Yeah,
I think they've officially said it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I just said that he could die for all we know, because we know nothing about this story because this is original.
Well, but I think he could possibly die in this series if they continue building.
But when I said that, I didn't realize that they may have confirmed that he's not dying.
Yeah.
Those of you who don't read comics that want some context, in the recent kind of reboot of the Marvel Universe, which didn't do much, it just kind of fixed a few things like a DC Crisis event, they went ahead and changed Miles' story to where he became Spider-Man later and Peter never died. And so they are both called Spider-Man in a weird Marvel quirk of having several characters with the same name, but they're different. So I think this will wind up being almost akin to a Batman storyline where we have characters like Batwoman popping up that are separate vigilantes with separate personalities that are just interesting. And who knows, we might get to play as Miles, and I think that would be really cool.
That would be cool. Might be a DLC, but that would still be kind of cool.
But before we get off of it, one thing I really hope the game has is a bunch of different costumes for Peter that you can just unlock.
I agree, because I personally don't like the White Spider and wouldn't mind swapping it out.
I've heard rumors that it'll be very the original Spider-Man for PlayStation and N64. It'll be very similar to that, where you can have a ton of different costumes, and that will even affect your stats and shit.
Yeah, I think that would be radical. I'd be really down for that.
But does anybody else got anything else to say about Spider-Man? Because I do want to transition to one more thing before we get off of Sony.
No, I'm done with Sony and
take it
except
away.
For whatever you got to talk about.
The last thing I want to talk about with Sony real quick is there were 2 more games that Sony talked about this year. They showed some stuff for that. To be real, I didn't give a shit about last year. I didn't care about either one of them last year because I was just like, these games look kind of meh. But then this year, I saw they showed more, and I am hyped for both of them. And that is Detroit Become Human and Days Gone. I am not a huge fan of I like certain zombie genres, like Resident Evil and shit like that. I love those games, but like I felt like the zombie genre got very overdone at one point. And whenever they first announced Days Gone last year, I was just like, oh well, that's kind of cool. The only thing I took away from Days Gone last year was like I like how the zombies swarmed in the game.
Yeah, I think that's pretty impressive. We haven't really seen anything like that yet.
But this year's Days Gone trailer, I was like, this game is fucking good. Like it looks really cool. I like how you can like manipulate the zombies to do shit and stuff like that. That's really interesting. And so I'm pretty excited about it. And then Detroit Become Human, like it just like they didn't really even show us any gameplay. They just kind of showed us more of the story, and it looks fucking good.
I'll tell you what, I am surprised to hear you say that because it looks like a completely different game almost than what we saw last year. That's what I was gonna
say.
I agree, it does, but like they actually, I would think if I remember correctly, they even said last year that like what we were seeing for it was not exactly going to be reminiscent of what we were going to get. So yeah, it was because last year was them kind of putting us into like the concept of the world.
Yeah,
because they were just like, here's this like detective that's one of the robot guys.
Yeah, and I was intrigued by him. I wouldn't be surprised if it's from multiple perspectives because these are the same people that made what was the name of that game, Chase, that you played?
Yeah, that one.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
Anyway, Heavy Rain was told by multiple perspectives, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was just one of the many characters you take control of.
Yeah, now if it's like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls wasn't, but Heavy Rain is fucking excellent. If you haven't played it, I highly suggest it if you like story-intensive games like that. But, if it's anything like Heavy Rain, I think I would enjoy it. But like Jesse said, it looks like a completely different genre of game compared to last year. So, like, I don't know what the hell to make of it.
Yeah, I feel you. But, like, I'm excited about it. I think I am very interested in the story. I think the story looks really cool. And I feel like the story is also kind of like, obviously, it's going to be a very good, like, moral lesson as well. So I think I'm really excited about it. Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting that both of those games were games I didn't give a shit about last year, but now I'm going to probably buy. Like,
yeah,
so.
Well, like on the other end of the spectrum for Days Gone, like you said, like the zombies, genre is so oversaturated. That's another one I just don't care about because I like how they swarm, like you said. It looks cool, but they also look like each one takes about half a bullet, and they're made out of cardboard. Because, like, he'll barely touch them, and they just topple over and die just immediately. So, like, I imagine the whole game's going to be like that. And I do hope you can manipulate them, like you said, but that could have been, like, a one-time event for all we know.
I doubt that they would create an engine for that and not use it at multiple parts of the game.
Not exploit the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it might, we may very well be disappointed by how they implement it, but I do expect to see it a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me as far as the games go and stuff like that. Does anybody else got anything else they want to talk about with Sony real quick?
No, I'm ready to grade it.
I'm ready to grade it, yeah.
Who wants to go first?
You can.
I'm going to go with probably an A- for Sony.
Okay, yeah.
I was very happy with Sony.
Brett?
Teetering between a B+ and an A-. I'll just, you know what? I'm gonna give it a B+ because I'm gonna spoilers. I'm gonna save my A-, but I'm gonna give it a B+.
Well, I mean, you can save your A- when there's only one left.
Jesse,
I might talk about Ubisoft's press conference. You don't know.
It ain't gonna be.
I realize now that I kind of hamstrung myself by giving Microsoft a B because I do feel like Sony's was better, but not as good as it was like per se last year. So I guess I want to give it an A- as well, and that's because I feel like in terms of like grading, I guess I don't know, like it definitely hit all the high points, but could it have been better? Yeah. For example, like we said, like it was really just a repeat of last year. Like I didn't really don't get me wrong, it definitely hit me where I live, and that's Shadow of the Colossus. I flipped out and I got real excited, but for a big chunk of that conference, I was largely uninvested. Like very much like who gives a damn about any of this? And then for like 3 games, I was like, oh yeah, I'm on board. But
See,
that was kind of me.
Yeah.
I was just like, like most of the conference, I was like, I'm kind of hyped about this, kind of hyped about this, kind of hyped about this. Then they had the VR, and that's the only reason it got an A- for me. If they had just not had that VR chunk, or if they, like I said, if they had added the whole, it's $100 cheaper now. If they had done either one of those things, I would be like, all right, A or A+. It was great.
Oh, actually, Chase, I was going to ask you, because it's weird that we're at a point in time where DLC announcements are almost just as big as main game announcements. But I know, like, it seemed like based off Facebook, you were really enjoying Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
How did the expansion look to you?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't get Horizon Zero Dawn until about a week ago. So I didn't even play the core game until well after the DLC was announced at E3. So, but now that I've played it, I will probably get that DLC because that game was awesome.
Yeah, I
played about 3 or 4 hours of it one night, and I was really enjoying what I played. So it's definitely one I need to go back and play.
It's excellent, but real quick, so we can move on. I guess I'll be the harsh one on Sony because they literally showed me 2 games that wasn't there last year, so they're getting a big fat C from me.
All right, I get where you're coming from. I really do, because
like they blew my mind with Monster Hunter. I ain't gonna lie, it's my favorite game of the entire E3 conference. The total, like I'm looking forward to it the most.
And I'm gonna be real. Sorry, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, but they were such a repeat of last year, and they've killed it for 2 years in a row, man. They've just blown me away, and then this year was just last year again.
And I feel like they felt that C coming because like they were just worried about Super 64's grade, but you go from Xbox, where even though we weren't impressed, they were clearly impressed with themselves because they were like, it's the most powerful console ever. We're giving you Xbox backwards compatibility that you didn't ask for, like all this stuff. And then I feel like the general tone of the people announcing at PlayStation was almost nervous. Like almost like we know we don't have a whole lot to show, but what we have is good. And one thing that I feel like lends to that is the fact that they came out last thing and they're like, all right, this is a truly Sony IP that you guys have been looking forward to, and I hope you enjoy it. And everybody thought that it was going to be the Last of Us sequel, more stuff from that, and it was fucking Spider-Man. And I know we were all excited for it, but I think the tone of many people has been like, where were you, Sony?
Yeah, I feel you. But, I think one of the reasons I can give Sony the grade that I can give it is knowing that there is other stuff out there that they didn't bring. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that stuff's there and we're gonna.
Yeah.
But they still had enough to show us to make up a full conference without showing. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and climb up into this treehouse for Nintendo.
Treehouse.
Hell yeah. Okay. Does anybody want to lead that conversation?
I will, since I haven't yet.
All right, do it, man.
They gave up on the conference thing a couple years ago. They started doing their little Treehouse thing, which is basically just a Nintendo Direct, which they do every 2 to 3 months or so. They have their own little E3 show just called a Nintendo Direct, and they'll announce new games throughout the year, which they desperately need right now because they have a new console with one game on it. Mm-hmm. So their Direct or Treehouse, whatever you want to call it this time, I don't know, kind of was lackluster for me. Now Super Mario Odyssey looks fucking lit. I am excited for that game.
I want it.
But not enough to buy a Switch over. Because I already have Breath of the Wild. I'm not going to buy a console for one game. And a lot of what else they showed was just a fucking JPEG. So
it makes me a little bit worried that the Switch is going to wind up with the same problems that the PSP and the Vita had, which is the only thing really going for it is portability. Because that's why I want it. But, am I going to have a lot of opportunities to go play video games in the park or at a party on the roof?
Now they announced some heavy hitters, right? But it was literally a picture or a guy saying we're working on it, nothing else.
For the most part, I kind of agree. I'm still happy with it. I'm actually really happy with Nintendo's show, and because kind of similar to Sony, they were like, we ain't got nothing new to show you as far as hardware goes, but here's some games. Let me just tell you about all what we're doing, what we're working. But there's some few in there that I'm really excited about. Honestly, if you had told me 3 months ago that there was going to be a Mario Rabbids crossover, I would have been like, "Who the fuck cares?" But I mean, it looks fun as fuck.
It looks like XCOM. It's straight up
does.
XCOM.
It does.
I'm actually still under that mindset. I don't have any interest.
Yeah.
But then Super Mario Odyssey looks great. Fire Emblem Warriors I already knew about, but it looks good. New Yoshi game. Them announcing Metroid Prime 4. My biggest issue was, you're right that a lot of the games were JPEGs and stuff like that. But kind of going to what I was wanting to say earlier was my biggest issue with Nintendo's Treehouse or whatever was when they were like, "Oh, by the way, there's going to be an unnamed Pokemon game on the Switch." And I'm like, "Cool, I feel you, and I appreciate you telling us." However, I feel like the way they went about it, about not showing us anything and just them just pretty much saying it, that makes me think that kind of gives me the impression of, all right, we really didn't want to do this, but y'all have been asking for it for a while, so I guess we'll start developing it soon.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think it's even like been started.
I don't either. I literally think that everyone expected the Sun and Moon Plus version, whatever the fuck that shit's called. I can't remember.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Yeah, the Ultra games. Like, everybody expected that announcement to be the Switch version of Pokemon Sun and Moon and be called Stars.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And I think there was such a backlash. They were like, "Quick, get that guy on Skype. Tell him everybody we're making a fucking Switch game."
That's exactly my thoughts.
Because he's literally sitting at a desk with a pen, like, "Oh, hey guys, yeah, what's his notes? Oh yeah, we're gonna be making a Pokemon game."
Yeah.
But I'm okay. So I see where you guys are coming from. I feel it, but I was kind of opposite on that because when they first announced Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, just exclusively for the 3DS, I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll probably get that because I really, really enjoyed Sun and Moon. Great, but like, where's our Switch game? And they're like, "Oh, it's Pokken DX." I'm like, okay, I still want like a core Pokemon game on the Switch because it's a mobile console, blah blah blah. We've been wanting a console Pokemon forever. So where's that at? And so when the Treehouse happened, or the press conference or whatever, Treehouse, and he just announced like, "Okay, well, we are going to work on a core Pokemon RPG for the Switch." I'm like, okay, I'm okay. At least you acknowledged it. At least you admitted that you're doing this. So I'll be patient. I'll wait on it.
Don't get me wrong. I agree. I'm excited about it. Like I'm cool about
I
it
am too.
But it just seems to me like Nintendo seems to be out of touch with it. To me, it almost seems like they were just like, "Well, we weren't weren't going to do this, but now that y'all really want us to, I guess we will."
Nintendo out of touch? Ian, you might want to slow down a little bit.
Get out of here.
At the same time, does this not mean that they're listening? Like,
you're
there was
right.
maybe a backlash and fans want this. They're like, okay, well, I guess
Right,
we'll
but
do
it should have been something that they were already.
I'll put it to you this
I-
way. Yeah, I'm glad they're listening, but let's start listening a little harder.
That's what I was gonna say. I agree with Ian. Like, it's good that they're listening, and I agree with Jesse. They need to listen harder because right now they're online. The fucking voice chat is still a phone app.
Yeah.
What the
That's
fuck?
stupid. Like, we talked about that.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're starting now.
Yeah, we're starting in 1998.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, I didn't even watch this damn thing. Like, I got the news about it later. But one thing that I feel like that I do want to mention from all of this is that they haven't really done anything to get me to buy this damn thing.
Yeah.
Like I was pumped, but like you guys have already said, and the problem that's been a long-standing problem with this is, are you going to try to sell this damn thing on the merit of one game that's also available on the Wii U? And, I was so pumped there for a while. And like we've said before in the past, like, I'm still not super motivated to get one until we have like a redesign of the console itself. And I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon. So in the interim, what are you going to win me over on? I just finished saying earlier that I was real pumped for this Monster Hunter game, and then like a couple weeks later they were like, "Oh, we didn't mean to give you the idea it was coming out in America." And it's just like, God, Nintendo, why don't you know anything? Like why don't you know anything? Of course we want it. Like,
Yeah, to let you in on my perspective of the conference, just real quick. Like, I bitched about Sony showing everything of last year except for 2 games. Well, Nintendo showed everything that's already been announced except for 4, and 2 of those had no footage.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was already under the mindset as far as getting a Switch that I was going to get one for Mario anyway, which, impressed me. I was real okay. Admittedly, I have to talk about this real fast. When they first showed I guess we can segue into Mario now.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay. So when they first showed the trailer for Mario Odyssey, like I watched the first time and I came away with, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's with the statue and what is he doing? And so it was one of the things I had to rewatch a couple of times and then hear other like YouTubers and people's opinions of. And then after all that, I was able to be like, okay, cool. Now I can kind of see what's happening a little bit more, and I'm even more excited for it. Like, I was already excited when I first saw the trailer, but I was confused about some stuff that was happening in it. And now makes a little bit more sense to me.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks
really
fantastic.
goddamn good.
Yeah. And one of the guys I follow on YouTube, he actually got to go play the demo of it in Vancouver. And he said as soon as he started playing it, the first thing he thought of because of the mechanics and the jumping was Mario 64. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm waiting for.
You can do the exact same triple jump.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I've heard. Speaking of YouTube, real quick, my favorite video I've seen on it was a speedrunner talking about it because he got to play it at E3 or maybe one of those demo stations that was out, across the states or whatever. And he was talking about how the Nintendo rep would stand there and help you if you weren't getting through the demo quick enough. That way the person behind you could play. And he said he was sitting there trying to practice like all the different kind of movements you would do in a typical speed run. And he was just like, man, this feels just like Mario 64. And he was trying to go this one way, and the rep was like, no, you can't go that way. We've designed it so you can't make that jump. And then he made that jump like right there in front of him.
Oh.
I thought that was awesome.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that makes
pretty
me feel good
good.
inside.
Pretty cool.
Like, see, and people comparing it to Mario 64 is one thing, but I mean, Nintendo themselves did it. Nintendo themselves put out like a little like graph that showed like all the different Mario games, and they had like all of the like old school like 2D and everything like that Mario games on one side, and then they had Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine in its own like category, and this one was with those two. And if that's what they're pushing this as, I'm fucking hyped. Like,
well, my DM, when he got back, he got to play Mario Odyssey at E3, and he told me that he thought more Sunshine than he did 64 when he played it, which is still fine.
It's great.
If it's a great blend of 64 and Sunshine, then sign me up twice.
Yeah. Those are my favorite too,
I
so
agree,
that's
yes.
perfect.
So I'm super
Oh, and the
Mario
2D
Odyssey.
sections. So I see what you did there. But the point of the game where you get basically like link between worlds, get part of the wall, and it's just 2D Mario.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
That is neat.
Like there was the one where the Bullet Bill was chasing him, and when he popped out back in the 3D, the Bullet Bill popped back out in the 3D. I was like, that's neat. That's really awesome.
And the fucking mechanic about the hat, I think that's cool as fuck.
I think that's gonna be a lot of fun because it looks like the possibilities are almost endless. He took over a dude. Like
Yeah,
He took over a T-Rex.
T-Rex, yeah.
That's what Yoshi.
That's why I was confused right from the get-go because the trailer opens with the T-Rex. I'm like, what is this? Is this Monster Hunter or what game is this? And all of a sudden you see the Mario hat and Mario pops out. I'm like, okay, the fuck? What's happening? T-Rex?
Dude, that T-Rex was way too detailed to be Monster Hunter. I'm sorry.
Well, that's coming from somebody who doesn't play
That's
Monster
just
Hunter.
Yoshi. That's
Yeah,
just
that's
Yoshi.
That is the movie version of Yoshi. Don't go there. Do not go there. Yoshi is a fucking raptor in the movie.
Yeah, that was a bad movie.
That was not good.
How dare y'all? I love that movie.
But do we have anything else to add to Mario Odyssey?
Nah.
I was thinking that we might move on to grading it.
Yeah, I'm ready to grade it.
Well, actually, I want to say real fast because I didn't get really much of a chance to talk about it. But the Metroid announcements, which I've never been just a huge Metroid fan. I enjoy Metroid, and I know the GBA titles especially I need to go back and play. But I've never been just a huge fan. But for whatever reason, when they did that teaser JPEG of Metroid, like as soon as this, you hear the music start off, and as soon as that symbol forms, I was sitting there watching it live, and I go, "Ooh, it's Metroid!" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wait, why did I do that for?"
I did too. As soon as I seen the lightning bolt looking thing, I was just like, "Yep, I know what it is."
But that also looked like it was very, very early in development, if even like really started at all. But then they announced the one for 3DS, which is basically a remake of Metroid 2, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll play that. I'll probably pick that up, have a cool Metroid game on my portable, and then wait for Metroid.
You want to know one of the
probably
main
will too.
why I think you're as excited about Metroid as you are is the fact that you have the kind of more recent years have heavily into Castlevania as you have.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the main reasons why now you actually kind of hyped about Metroid. So.
you might be right, but I'm speaking of which, that actually reminded me. One thing I'm very hesitant about the 3DS version of Metroid is that it's being developed by the same guys who did Mirror of Fate, Mercury Steam.
Yeah,
and Mirror of Fate was hot shit. It was terrible. It was a terrible game. So, but also they also did the Korra game that I actually kind of enjoyed. A lot of people hated it, but I liked it. But my point is, they don't have the best reputation. But I saw a little gameplay footage from the 3DS Metroid. It looked like it'd be fun. It looked like it was just...
to be real, it's kind of hard to fuck up a 2D Metroid game.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Don't put it past them.
Well, especially if it's a remake, you got the source material there. Just take that and redo it.
Just do it.
So,
just fucking nothing to it but to do it.
But yeah, I'm excited for some Metroid. I am pumped about that.
All right, so are we good to go grade?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, my grade.
Mine's already been revealed, so
yeah, that's true.
I'll say my grade to be a little mean is I'll go ahead and throw my C at it. Just because even though I'm happy for what they've got, I haven't been introduced to anything new from this console from Nintendo since last year, really, that I'm particularly invested in.
Yeah, and for me, it's right now. If I were to buy one, it's just a Wii U and ports machine, basically. So I'm gonna give another C out. So they get a C and Sony gets a C because they both essentially did the same thing. Didn't show me anything new.
You gave Nintendo an A-.
I'm gonna give Nintendo the A- because
and you gave Sony a B+.
Yes,
because we are flipped on it.
All right, well, hold on. Let me explain.
Sorry.
I said what my grade was, but
fucking say it.
Just go. I'm trying to talk. Shit. Anyway, Nintendo gave me more that I was excited about than any other press conferences. Yes, I'm excited for new Pokemon. I'm excited for Metroid. I'm excited for Mario Odyssey. The Kirby games look fun as fuck. Those look really good. So I'm excited for all those. So there's right there 5 games that Nintendo already gave me that I'm excited for in the future. So, and Rocket League. I know this is a re-release, but Rocket League on the Switch makes perfect sense.
I think so.
It really does. I agree.
And I love Rocket League. I've already got it on the PS4 with some DLC, but I would probably pick it up for this, especially if it's like a $40 game. I would probably pick it up for the Switch.
Yeah. Now, even though we're kind of past talking about it, Kirby's not one I talked about during the podcast main part, but I'm super looking to that. I love me some Kirby.
Yeah, so that looks good too.
But my opinion is honestly kind of just the flip flop of yours. I gave Sony the A+ because of the same reason you're giving Nintendo the A-. That I just loved everything they showed me. I'm hyped about a lot, and Nintendo's getting a B+ because it was just barely worse. I feel like it was I'm still excited about a lot of the stuff they're showing us. Same thing you said, Mario and all that. I'm excited about all of that. It does make me really want to get a Switch. There's a bunch of stuff I'm excited about that I want on the Switch. I wasn't as excited about as much as Sony, but I feel like Sony and Nintendo had a really, really good strategy coming into this E3. They may not have had a whole lot to show, but literally, whereas Microsoft was just hey, we got this new Xbox, check it out. Sony and Nintendo both just hey, fuck all that. Games. You want games? Here's some games. I got a game for you. And that's what I want. That's don't get me wrong. New console announcements or reveals are important and integral. They have to happen from time to time. But there needs to be more to it. They need to have the games to back it up.
Yeah.
And so Microsoft personally didn't, and Sony and Nintendo had games, I feel like. So I'm again a B+ to go with the A- this.
Yeah. All right. Well, wonderful. So what we've got now that we've talked about all the heavy hitters, is we've got a slot right here on the list for us to just go ahead and talk about games that we're excited for that maybe we haven't already talked about. And in case you guys don't have one just right on the top of your mind, I want to go ahead and mention the game A Way Out. That's a cross-platform game on PS4, Xbox One, and Windows. Did any of you see that?
Was that the pixel art one?
No, A Way Out is
No, you're talking about the co-op, like, Prison Break type thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, like, I'm intrigued by this, as you guys know, because, like, one of the biggest reasons we even started doing this is because some of our favorite kinds of games are games that you can play together with friends. But I saw a lot of heavy criticism of this game and games like it here recently, where, I saw some people talking about how games like this never really work. How, like, co-op story games or games that you are meant to play the story co-op don't really work. And I disagree in a sense to say this is an idea that hasn't been fully explored yet. Because I personally, like, there are a lot of games that I feel like would have been better co-op. For example, Mass Effect. Like, if Mass Effect, since it's already a squad-based game, if I could have had people playing with me and helping me make my decisions, almost the way that whenever you're watching a mystery movie together with friends, how you all have different theories of what's going on, like, you are able to talk together and educate those decisions together, just so that Chase can tell me down the road, I told you we should have killed that guy. Like, just stuff like that. I think that we do need more of that. And I think a Way Out, while it's not exactly that premise, is more of that. But it does have a very unique twist to it, which is it has to be played split screen. Like, to where, like, you can see both players on screen at one time. And I think that that's intentional for the narrative, so that you can, almost like a movie where you've got multiple perspectives, like you're watching the story unfold through the eyes of both characters.
I think the split screen part of it is going to be the death of it, that people are talking about how this doesn't work. Like, if you could do that split, like if I could sit at my house and we could play it together over PS4 or Xbox, and we could go through it co-op, and it was only go through it co-op, you just had to find somebody to play with, I think that's fine. That would work great. But I don't hate couch co-op, and I do miss it, but we're almost never at each other's houses anymore since grew up, basically.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily has to be couch co-op, though. I think it can be online. It's just it doesn't give you both a whole screen. Like,
yeah, that's also kind of weird about it, the way the screen shapes. But if it's got the online option, then I'm down. Yeah. I think it look cool too.
Yeah, like the thing is like, there for a while I was like, man, I miss couch co-op. But if there's anything I've learned over the past couple of months, is that when you grow up, sometimes there are just plain obstacles in the way of seeing each other. And so, us as adults, we need a means of enjoying these things together over the internet. So I do hope that is an option. Even though I do miss couch co-op, I am not the demographic for couch co-op. I am not somebody that's coming home from middle school, to bring my friend over and churn out a couple of rounds or something. So I do hope that option is available. But that's sort of the game that I'm intrigued by that we haven't mentioned yet. Does anybody else have anything they want to mention?
I've got a game that kind of intrigued me, and it's funny because we were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier, and I've never been a huge fan of Assassin's Creed either, but I did play a little bit of Black Flag.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of the whole game was the piloting the boat. Mm-hmm. And we're getting a whole game of it. Fucking what was it? Bone and Cells and Bones, Skull and Bones. That's it. Skull and Bones. Mm-hmm. I think that looks intriguing. I think it looks like a really cool looking game. It honestly reminds me of For Honor Boat Edition.
Yeah, For Honor Boat Edition.
Because you have like
better than For Honor.
I agree, but like it like the concept though, because like you have different types of boats that like different class of boats that like some are going to be better against others and stuff like that, and then you've got like it just looks really intriguing to me.
How do you feel about Sea of Thieves on the same note?
Sea of Thieves looks good. I do want to play Sea of Thieves as well. I think I'm more excited for stuff.
Right,
I had a playable demo of Sea of Thieves there last year. It was actually right next to Bloodstained, so while I was waiting in line, I got to watch a few people play it, and it just didn't look like anything I would get into.
The art style is a little odd to me.
Well, the art style is not so much it. It was just when I was watching people play it, I was just like, I'm not sure that's something. So I didn't ever play it last year. I might be wrong. It might end up being really good, but when I watched gameplay footage of it last year, I just wasn't.
Well, anybody else got games they particularly want to talk about?
I'll go ahead, Chase. I'll let you talk.
I'm not going to go in depth of mine because I've got a couple we didn't talk about. Middle Earth: Shadow of War. Like,
yeah, I was gonna mention that too.
I got the first one for like $5 or $10 or something at Best Buy one day because it was on sale, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. And the next one's looking kind of good. And that one orc made that whole trailer, dude. He was funny as hell. And then Sea of Thieves, we kind of mentioned. I'm looking forward to it. And then I've already kind of talked about Code Vein. I'm super looking forward to Code Vein.
Yeah. The ones I'm looking forward to are both Sonic games, Sonic Forces and Sonic Mania. I'm actually really looking forward to, and I had heard some good stuff about them from my district manager whenever he got back from E3. So I'm looking forward to both of those.
Doesn't that come out in like 2 weeks?
Which one?
Sonic Mania?
Maybe. I'm actually probably looking forward to that one more so than Forces.
You know what?
You keep going.
Your own original character.
Whatever.
Original, do not steal.
Yeah, that's fine. The other ones I liked was drawing a blank. Let me see this real quick. What was the other ones? There was like two.
Mania comes out August 15th, by the way.
Okay, Mania comes out August 15th. Now I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember what the other ones were that I was looking for. But yeah, both Sonic games and Madden. Yeah, I like playing sports games. So the story mode they're doing with Madden this year.
That is interesting. That is interesting. I will agree.
Because I also enjoy the NBA 2K games, but I've never been able to get into their story mode so well. But the story mode for Madden, I think I could really get into. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, I think the other one was Battlefront.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. Absolutely.
Yeah, we saw a little bit more about that.
Absolutely.
I forgot about Battlefront.
Yeah, that I'm still excited.
It looks good.
And I don't like. It's so weird because like I'm trying to hold back my expectations because I was super excited for the first one. It sucked, but this one just looks so much better. Like it's like they learned. Like they listened.
It's almost like they learned or listened.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still excited for
Darth Maul.
Yeah, Cuphead looks good.
Yeah, I'm still excited for Cuphead. So.
Yeah, I would really like to play Cuphead. I don't know, like I know we're just gonna play it, but like there for a while I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, more co-op games, more shit for the channel. But the more I've realized is that like stuff like this, I don't know if it makes a really good video, but you can be damn sure that I'm going to play it with friends just for the sake of fun, like 'cause it looks like a really good time.
Yeah.
All right.
But that pretty much does it for me as far as what I was looking forward to from E3.
It seems like there was one more for me. I can't remember.
Dishonored?
Probably. Like, I'm pretty hype about that DLC. Like, it's a pretty big deal. Going to be killing the Outsider, playing as Billy Lark. That's really cool. Yeah. But
that's it for me, though.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, to go ahead and like lead out then. Let's go ahead and say real quick if you guys want to grade this E3 as a whole compared to previous years.
I came away looking forward to more this year than I did last year. Last year there was a lot of stuff they announced that I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool, but I wasn't just too heavily invested into. But this year there was a lot of stuff that came up that I'm like, I'll probably try that out. I'll probably definitely get that. So I would have gave last year probably like a C-, maybe B. No, I probably wouldn't give last year's B. Breath of the Wild was mainly it last year, so like a C- or C+ last year rather. So I'll give this year like a B, a solid B.
That's about where I'm standing. Like I'm gonna probably give a B too because I mean my grades were A, B, and C, so
I think it averages out
average that to a B. So
yeah, I think I'd give it
a
B-.
Yeah, I think we're all mostly gonna give Bs, but I will say this: weirdly enough, I personally thought last year's E3 was a little stronger, but it might be because all I can really remember of last year's E3 is PlayStation's conference, and I feel like that they might have done a little bit better last year, but there's a chance that I'm remembering the year before. I'm not
no,
sure.
I do remember. Well, Sony's last year was really good because a lot of the things they announced, like they showed us this year, were things they announced last year and just got like super hype. Like because last year they announced the God of War, they announced Days Gone, they showed us Horizon Zero Dawn. So I mean like.
Okay, then yeah, that might have been it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like it was pleasant and not a tremendous disappointment. so I guess putting a B on it is speaking pretty fairly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, and while we're signing off real quick, I just wanted to remind anybody watching that SGDQ starts tomorrow.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Shit, I did
That's-
not know that.
That's part of why I had already promised on Twitter that I was going to do a gaming stream tomorrow. I may not, because number one, it's short notice for us to coordinate anything together unless we can. We'll go ahead and talk about that after the stream, but I will update you all on Discord and Twitter and Facebook and all that as to whether or not it's going to happen. But for the most part, if you plan on tuning in tomorrow, it will be because you don't give a shit about speedruns or because I'm not doing it. But we'll figure it out. Like
It starts tomorrow at 11:30.
Cool. Yeah, definitely gonna be watching that.
Well, goddamn, I can't play Final Fantasy 14 and watch
I can.
SDQ on my PlayStation at the same time.
I
I can't do it at the same time, period, with my internet I've got.
I can.
Well, fuck.
well, fuck.
Good. I'm so glad. At least one of us can. You can tell me all about it.
Yeah, I'm telling you all the good stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Or I'll just let you play my Final Fantasy character here and I'll watch it.
I ain't gonna do that.
Great.
Okay, well that's it. Everybody hand out your Snapchat handles.
Okay, let me look it up real
What
quick.
is mine? Yeah. I
I've
don't know.
never made one. I can proudly say that.
I've got one. I have no idea what it is.
Tinder profiles.
I mean, I can give you that too. Fucking Facebook. .com/fightonforjustice. Justice Cosplay. That's mine. On Facebook, and then I always forget what's Twitter. Like,
Well, I've got no problem with continuing to hand out like the Twitter and all that stuff, but like, I feel like Twitter is fucking dying in terms of the average person now, don't you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I never used it like big time anyway, but like I haven't tweeted in I don't know fucking how long. Like, I just don't care.
yeah, Justice Gaming 75 is mine, but I'm never. So like, I have 78 followers. That just blows my goddamn mind.
Well, that's the awkward thing about Twitter, and I don't mean to go on a tangent, but like, how many of those are real people?
I mean, the first 6 I looked at, I know. So
Well, a lot of ours aren't, but we'll get into that. Who's next?
I'm not active on anything really, so don't worry about it.
Sounds good.
Tensaken, I am Tensaken at like anything if anybody wants to try to find me.
So you can find me as either Jay Gatsby, that's GJATZB, or Mr. J Gatsby, which is MRJGATZB on most things.
Yeah, and you can cash me outside. How about that?
she's going to jail.
Yeah, she is.
I didn't hear that. Oh man.
Yeah, she's going to jail. I guess the cops caught her outside. I don't know.
That's a good way to end it.
And don't forget to hit us up as Bro-Op Games, Bro-Op Games all one word, on Twitter and on Facebook and on Tinder, where you can find all of our dicks crossing in a strange arrangement.
Whoa.
You're the one that invented that. Don't even start, Mr. Pinwheel.
Damn it, Red.
Okay, well
Sorry.
that said,
Really immature.
that's the show. We appreciate you for coming out, especially if you're watching us live.
I thought you were just going to end it right there. That's it. That's the show.
I really ought to.